It was one of the most anticipated series finales in television history. TV's most iconic antihero, Walter White, succumbs to a deluge of bullets, bringing an end to one of the most unlikely of success stories in entertainment. $10.3 million viewers tuned in on September 29, 2013 for the series finale of Breaking Bad, a neo-western set in Albuquerque, which in many ways revolutionized television, streaming services, and a burgeoning industry in the land of enchantment. But the journey to becoming a worldwide phenomenon wasn't an easy road to travel.
It was not a slam dunk by any means.
In 2006, seasoned X-Files scribe Vince Gilligan was looking to develop a new series that would follow a good guy down the rabbit hole of crime to become the bad guy. Gilligan's concept emerged after working on the sci-fi series, joking with colleague Thomas Chanuz that one unemployment solution would be to, quote, put a meth lab in the back of an RV and drive around the country cooking and making money. Well, it's a good thing for all, he didn't actually follow through with that plan. Instead, he put the pen to paper and drafted out a pilot that he took to Sony Pictures Television.
The head of Sony is quoted as saying, he said it was the worst idea for a TV series he ever heard.
Although he finally came around thanks to the passion of his studio execs, other networks shared a similar hesitation for such dark material.
A 40-year-old man dying of cancer in a somewhat economically depressed area, dealing with a horrible drug, and nothing sexy about it.
Showtime, HBO, TNT, and FX all passed on the project until it finally found a taker for the pilot at AMC.
The facilities that we now take for granted did not exist then. The sound stages were under construction, but they were not available to us. There were no offices that really were there. Nothing had been done of that scope.
Stuart Lyons, who served as unit production manager and line producer, had just 6 weeks to get the pilot off the ground in a state still developing the infrastructure to support a growing film industry.
The terrifying thing is when you are just alone in a hotel room with a script and a phone. And then you start putting the pieces together. But the first day is always, wow, are we really going to be able to start the circus? And, the answer has been yes.
Breaking Bad premiered on January 20th, 2008, with 1.4 million viewers tuned in. And after 58 minutes of storytelling, faithful audiences knew they were onto something new, something dangerous and exciting.
The writing and the acting and the production values were just, it was almost like they'd never been seen before. I mean, yes, we had gritty urban dramas, but this thing looked like a huge budget Western, and it was set in a place that nobody had seen.
All of a sudden at age, 60, he's just gonna break bad? I'm 50.
The series slowly but steadily grew viewership through its first 2 seasons, but its 3rd season received a big boost from an emerging form of home entertainment.
Netflix picked up the show beginning of season 3, and streaming was new then, and binging was new then, and so that hit, and they have a worldwide distribution.
Suddenly, viewers from around the globe were getting hooked on the crime drama that called New Mexico home, particularly due to the plight of its central character, played by Emmy Award-winning actor Bryan Cranston.
I don't think either of us are eager to jump into bed with another Tuco.
I think that chord of desperation combined with the artistry is what really resonated for the viewers.
As ratings began to double and triple, it became apparent to all parties involved that the gamble Sony and AMC took in 2008 was paying off big. And that's just scratching the surface. Coming up, how Breaking Bad broke good for New Mexicans, both in front of and behind the cameras. And later, we dive into just how much of an economic impact the show has had on the land of enchantment. Legendary New Mexico will be right back.
Say my name. Heisenberg. You're goddamn right.
By 2012, viewership began to double for Breaking Bad, and the name Heisenberg, or Walter White, was becoming synonymous with must-see television, New Mexico, and its growing pool of on- and off-camera talent.
Are we on the planet Mars?
I dug the pilot. I thought, I know I'm supposed to read scripts and read them again and again, and I rarely do, but I read the pilot 3 times.
Stephen Michael Quesada had worked for decades as a stand-up comedian and an actor on the stage, but his film and television career took off after booking the recurring role of Gomez, appearing in 33 episodes of Breaking Bad.
I was nervous, man. I was afraid that I wasn't going to be up to par with everybody else.
On the contrary, Quesada's character quickly became a fan favorite, inspiring the catchphrase, "Gomi is my homie."
Petty was a prior.
Prior will stay on his sheet for life.
Petty was a prior.
Peter Dyseth has now had 9 episodes and counting on the prequel to Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, as Deputy District Attorney Bill Oakley.
Bill is just this ball of anxious energy, completely focused on not necessarily the cases, but maybe how the cases make him look to other people.
The role of Oakley has helped Peter land other recurring roles on Roswell, New Mexico, and a role in the feature film Flamin' Hot, directed by Eva Longoria. But he says while other shows may be set in New Mexico, Breaking Bad's relationship with its location is different.
It's such a part of the show, and I think what sets it apart a little from some of the other shows like that is that the creators, the producers and directors and the writers, they so obviously love New Mexico.
It's a special relationship that exists not only in front of the camera. Hollywood started taking note of the genius being captured and knew full well that it's just as much about the crew as it is the cast.
I could also deliver, after a couple of seasons, the Breaking Bad crew as an enticement. And they were an enticement because people would look at the quality of what we were doing and go, good Lord, I want a piece of that.
And one of those crew members is Charles Arnold, who has worked as a grip on both Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul for more than a decade.
We're the engineers of the set. We manipulate light, we mount the camera to cars, to Roomba vacuums and all kinds of fun stuff.
Arnold says the relationship on set is unique, one that feels more like a family than just a collection of cast and crew. And that tone, he says, was set by show creator Vince Gilligan.
He knows our names. He asked how my granddaughter is. You know, they know us and we know them, and we've all been together for so long that it's just like as soon as a new season picks up, or if we do El Camino or something like that, we all just slide right back into where we're supposed to be.
A typical feature film can take anywhere from 1 to 3 months to shoot, but a TV series can take several months to complete.
Which means long-term employment for New Mexicans like Merritt Glover, a UNM alum who returned to New Mexico for work both in front of and behind the camera.
I actually purchased a house off of my earnings from booking another role because I was able to book in Breaking Bad and create that stepladder of bigger and bigger roles.
Glover spent 2 seasons as Anna Gunn's stand-in, a job that allows the crews to light and block a scene without the stars, so they can rehearse their lines, go through hair and makeup, and get ready for the cameras to roll. Walter White's stand-in found his way to the set after winning a Heisenberg look-alike contest.
But meeting him was really awesome. He was the nicest guy ever. Sit with Brian in the makeup chair and talk to him, and he talked to me a lot about acting and not to give up and to keep going and pursue it.
And whether New Mexicans are working behind the scenes or alongside the stars of the series, Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul have allowed artists who call New Mexico home the opportunity to live their dreams without relocating to Hollywood.
It allowed me to provide for my children on a level that I didn't think I was going to be able to do that as an artist. As a comedian, I was able to sustain us, but the film and television industry gave me an opportunity to do better for my children, and that's important.
Coming up, business has boomed since Breaking Bad became a cultural phenomenon. how the show paved the way for entrepreneurs in New Mexico.
Killers change their bonds.
Television productions like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul not only employ thousands of New Mexico residents, they develop intricate networks of vendors and contractors for set construction, art department needs, wardrobe purchase, and catering. But aside from the ancillary spend, the movie biz, and Breaking Bad in particular, have helped to cultivate a niche in tourism.
Even though the show has wrapped years ago, we're still seeing economic benefits from this show.
Just ask Frank and Jackie Sandoval, owners of the Breaking Bad RV Tour.
If Breaking Bad did not exist, or Better Call Saul or El Camino now, I mean, we would not be in business, and we owe everything to the film industry.
Before hitting the roads in their tricked-out Fleetwood bounder, Frank and Jackie worked for HP and French Funeral Home, respectively. After a pair of layoffs, they took the opportunity to turn their fandom into a lucrative business.
My friend from Florida said, well, you guys ought to start a Breaking Bad tour, but you ought to do it like in a Breaking Bad RV.
The Sandovals found their first of 3 crystal ships in Arizona, and they learned quickly that keeping their prized rides running wouldn't be an easy task.
When one of these things breaks down, it's extremely expensive.
But maintenance and upkeep aside, Frank says his dream job has been able to keep up with corporate America.
It has provided an income that it was equal to what I was making at HP.
Well, we actually had one visitor during our Balloon Fiesta week that we just finished up, and she walked in the door and she goes, we were making a cross-country trek, and my son said the only thing he wanted to do in Albuquerque was come here to the Breaking Bad store. That was it.
In late 2019, Frank and Jackie Sandoval handed over the reins of a small retail shop in Old Town to Mark Smith and Edward Candelaria, 2 other superfans who had aspirations of creating another immersive experience based on the series.
The store is always going to be for the fans, always, and we always make sure that, you know, if we have people from the show here, you don't have to pay for a photograph. This is not like a Comic-Con. We want to make sure that they come in, they do a picture, they have an autograph, and they can relive something that they loved.
The seed for the Breaking Bad store came at a 10th anniversary celebration for the show. Store owners Candelaria and Smith had an idea of creating a museum paying homage to the Breaking Bad universe.
The fans were there. I mean, thousands of people showed up for that event, so we're like, the people are there, the fans are there, they want to come.
The store officially opened January 2nd, 2020, just 2 months before COVID hit and shut operations down. Instead of caving and letting the enterprise succumb to the pandemic, Smith and Candelaria expanded their operations, moving to a much larger location within the confines of Old Town.
You can be like you're part of Vamonos. You can be Saul behind his desk. You can be at the park where his bench was on the show. That's what we wanted. We wanted people to feel like they are part of the show.
And when it comes to the shop, you can find almost anything for the ultimate baddie fan, from coffee mugs, t-shirts, and other licensed merchandise, as well as creations from local artists inspired by the sister series.
Sony has also given us a leeway to where we can have local artists sell their merchandise.
And it's interesting to see an artist's take on the Breaking Bad universe, to where, like Ed said, nobody would actually say, hey, let's put something on a beaker that people are going to want to buy. It's like, but that's so synonymous with Breaking Bad that, you know, it gives you a little science mixed in with a little art.
Although that Breaking Bad universe is now well more than a decade old, neither Candelaria, Smith, or Frank and Jackie Sandoval see the interest in the shows slowing down anytime soon.
We are seeing a whole new generation of fans now. These are people that had not watched it before that are actually watching it now, and with all the binge watching going on now, I'm seeing an uptick in popularity that's just unbelievable.
I am the one who knocks.
Still to come, what Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul's legacy will be after these series wrap production in the land of enchantment. In the fiscal year 2019, the New Mexico film industry had a direct spend of $525 million, with 92 projects shooting in the state. While COVID cut that figure nearly in half in 2020, fiscal year 2021 added almost $100 million more to the record spend pre-pandemic.
The growth of television series in the industry is insatiable, and the demand is insatiable.
Amber Dodson, director of the New Mexico Film Office, says that television production is crucial to the growth of this multi-million-dollar industry, simply due to the time it takes to film a season.
Series end up staying on the ground a lot longer than a feature film. And what does that mean? That means longer jobs for our resident crew. That means more spend with our local businesses around the state.
Breaking Bad, like most TV shows, shot between 8 to 10 days per episode on average.
I've been a producer on over 100 episodes of television in New Mexico. Generally speaking, I would say that the New Mexico spend on each of those episodes between $1.5 million and $2 million.
All right, so let's do a little bit of math here. Breaking Bad shot 62 episodes while here in New Mexico. Its sister series, Better Call Saul, will end up with 63 episodes when production wraps. That means the universe Vince Gilligan created will have brought in between $187 million to $250 million in direct spend right here in the state. And we're not even including the Netflix film El Camino.
Not a lot of other industries can inject that kind of spend in such a short amount of time.
With the addition of the so-called Breaking Bad bill introduced in 2013 and Senate Bill 2 introduced in 2019, legislators paved the way for more television to call New Mexico home. And with media titans like Netflix and NBC Universal taking residency in the state, the sky's the limit for series production and lucrative, sustained careers in the field.
There's thousands of jobs within an ecosystem like that. Many of them are long-term. Most of them are very high-paying. And New Mexico has the assets to be that ecosystem.
And while shows like Messengers, Roswell, New Mexico, Daybreak, and Big Sky have brought magic to the small screen, it's hard to find a show that has equaled in global impact to the series that revolutionized film production here in New Mexico.
It was a magical experience, and if you get one of those, you're a very lucky person, so that's who you're looking at.
Well, as streaming services race to fill their platforms with new and original content, New Mexico is primed to become the destination for comprehensive film production, where the next juggernaut like Breaking Bad can go from concept to completion without ever having to leave the state. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time right here on Legendary New Mexico.